What's happening, everyone? Welcome. Happy Sunday. Hope you're having a great one out there. I've had quite a day, but I've been excited. Been excited to talk more about, well, not more. I haven't talked much at all about the Permabull tokenomics stuff I've been fascinated with recently. So very curious. I've been trying to get Giff and Khalid on the show, and hopefully I will in the next week or so to do a real technical deep dive, which I have much more information, but I kind of want to introduce the concepts. And it's really hard for people to either like for one reason or another or understand. And I want to kind of go through that a little bit today too. I mean, this is really, to me, this could be, if successful, if they, pull it off, the experiment goes well, the stuff could be the hot new thing in tokenomics. And that's why I'm super interested in it. Again, the phrase in it for the tech and the price performance. And this is what I hope is early. Introduction to something that will be useful, build upon, successful. And again, I like to talk about things that are either on PulseChain or help PulseChain, helping value grow on it, all that stuff too. So this will be fun. Again, I want to keep this close as possible to the Permabull tokenomic side. And I'll mention the products, of course, too, because there's a little bit of nuance with them as well. But I think the most interesting thing to think about in this, and again, if it's successful and other things are built upon it and all that stuff too, is the whole new way of doing things that I haven't seen done before, at least in our ecosystem. And again, when I have Giff and Khalid on the show, when we do the deep dive and stuff, we can talk more about that too. But this is something very interesting, and I think it's relevant to PulseChain and pretty cool. So I want to go through it. So let me say out to the chat real quick before we get into it. Crypto Elite, recognize you as well as people are not ready for this tech. I agree. It's like I tried to explain it to people, and it's sort of like, it's just hard. It's hard to get. I literally had to watch the videos. There's not a lot of content about it either. Just a couple key, let's say 2 or 3 different key streams were just, Q&A discussions and stuff where some very interesting details are there. And I've clipped and put on the channel recently as well. So, but I kind of had to listen to a couple of them literally twice. And it's like the second time I picked up on a couple of things that, either just didn't quite understand the first time or otherwise. So it sounds simple on the surface, but there's actually a few moving parts, and there's just a lot of different principles going on too, which I think is interesting. So Crypto Elite, what's up, man? The Mo, best kept secret on PulseChain. I think it could be. I've tweeted about it a little bit. I was like, what's this chart? And then eventually, I said it was the Giff chart. And more than just, again, you can talk about the price, you can talk about all these things. I think the technology is the most interesting piece. And then, of course, if the technology is successful and what it's supposed to do and all this stuff, then the price, could reflect that. But again, that's why I want to keep it focused on the tech side in this conversation. And again, we'll get into the different tokens deploying the tokenomic side too. But we'll keep it on that. Anyways, we put it there. This is a reference. It's on the Pulsar website. The white paper describes Permabull stuff, which I'll be talking about here in a second. Get to snooze wisely. What's up, man? Snooze wisely. I like that. Sleeping in. I don't know. I stopped setting alarm clocks unless I literally have to get up for something. I get up pretty early anyway. So I think alarm clocks are just, I'm not a big fan these days, unless I absolutely have to use them. I pretty much just wake up when I need to these days. What's up, Red Squirrel? Number five. What's up, Marcus? How's it going? Crypto King, J Pond, good to see you. Crypto Zadi, good to see you as well, man. Bright lights here. Crypto Toad 83. How's it going, everyone? All right, let me pull up the white paper. And again, this is not Pulsar focused, but the Pulsar white paper describes Permabull tokenomics. Very hard to get information on this stuff. It is literally pretty early in the process. Excited to see. Rocky, we're so mooning. I don't know if you're saying the price is going up right now or not, but or in the future. I'm not sure what you're thinking there, but I'll pull up the price chart of the Giff and BGiff in a bit. But first, again, I want to get in Permabull. Like, what is Permabull tokenomics? In the white paper here, so Pulsar is a implementation. It has the tokenomics implemented, which hasn't launched yet. But also, as I'll talk about in a bit, the Giff and PGiff tokens are using this kind of tokenomics as protocol as well that can be used with it. So characterized by its buy and burn mechanism, forms a backbone of sustainable and deflationary economic model. So I think that's if you take nothing else away, I think, like, I'm trying to, how do you boil this down into like one sentence? I think maybe something like creation, not inflation, with the buy and burn. I feel like that encapsulates a lot of what's interesting about this. So you're able to essentially mint a token. So I'm just talking about this mechanism broadly. You're able to mint a token by putting economic energy into something, either it's ETH or PLS or whatever, and then take another token, and we'll talk about the different ways and stuff that happened in Pulsar. It's Titanx and ETH, and in Giff, it is, or to mint PGiff, it is PermaGiff. It is Giff and Pulse to mint PGiff. So it's taking and buying the token and then burning it of something, and it takes economic energy to do that. Not just through trade, like with PulseX, we got the buy and burn, which is amazing. But with PulseX, the sacrifice phase, and a lot of tokens got distributed, and you have through trades, through volume and stuff, you have the buy and burn happening and burning tokens and stuff, like buying and burning tokens, which is amazing. That's like considered God level or God mode, God tier tokenomics, right? A lot of people describe it as such. Amazing. And about 4% of the PulseX supply has been burned, which is just incredible. And we're not even on a year yet. And with launch and not a lot of volume in the last few months compared to what we had at launch, all that stuff. But with this system, it's not only buy and burn, it's also the creation model of having to stick in 2 assets to mint another asset. So like something worth value goes into it. When I go through this stuff with the founders and stuff on the technical side, talk about how that may de-incentivize people from dumping because there's actually value into it. Why would you sell at a loss? All that stuff too. Gets in a lot of interesting different game mechanics and stuff too. So hopefully that makes sense. So there's two principles here. Think about it like that: the buy and burn, and then you have the creation, not inflation model. So you're minting tokens with value that burns part of the original token and the other tokens. For example, with Giff system, you put in to mint PermaGiff with this implementation of the tokenomics. You put in Giff and Pulse, and then you mint PGiff from that, and the Giff. So the Giff is burned. So it mints you PGiff, it burns the Giff, and it takes the Pulse. It uses the Pulse to buy. It uses the Pulse to buy the Giff, burns the Giff, and mints you the token. That makes sense. So it takes the Pulse to buy the Giff, burns the Giff, mints you token. That's the structure of it. So I don't think I've seen that, and that's on the PulseChain side. And then Pulsar, it takes ETH and Titanx, and it burns so in that scenario, it would take the ETH, buy the Titanx, burn the Titanx, and mint you the Pulsar token. So that's its implementation on the Pulsar side. So there's a ETH project that this is being used for, and there's a PulseChain project this is being used for so far. And this is like the launch, like the initial launch of implementations of this kind of protocol. So very, very cool indeed. I really like, once I started thinking like, man, that is super cool. Not just, buy and burn is cool, but when you have, economic energy going into minting something and getting all that, like, in some spectrum of trustless happening, and there's different variations of stuff, and again, get into that with the devs and stuff as well. But getting that whole process to work is just fascinating. So I think that's cool. Again, we'll look at the chart a little later on to see if you think it's cool as far as so far and like how this experiment's going. And that's what I want to talk about with, let me go to Giff's Twitter. So hopefully the Permabull part makes some sort of sense. So the DApp for PermaGiff is permagiff.win. And here is where you can put in the Giff, And then it'll like, so let's say like if you want to mint, or if you want to send in 1 million Giff, and you want to burn, so you'd be sending 1 million Giff, you'd be burning 1 million Giff, you'd be buying and burning. Let's see, no, you're sending the Giff, yeah, and then it's buying it, and you're also providing the 10 million PLS, so it's 10 to 1, yeah, 10 to 1 PLS to Giff. So it's buying and burning the Giff, and it's minting you the PGIF portion. And there's like this arbitrage. I'm not gonna get into detail, but it's like an arbitrage. You know, depending on the prices and stuff, is it cheaper to mint PGIF or buy it off the market, or you know, all this different stuff too. So you actually have to put in Pulse, and on the ETH side, you got to put in ETH with the tokens and stuff there. So you put in value Pulse. So you pair Giff and Pulse to mint the PGIF, and the buy and burn goes into action, all this stuff too. So this is the DApp. I'll just put it in the, again, I may get some of these pieces because again, I feel like I'm doing the stream by myself just based on what I've read and what I've listened to. So I'm probably not going to get all the pieces completely correct. And there's people in the chat from the, you know, from the community there, from the Giff community or Pulsar or anything who have corrections. Feel free to put them in the chat. Like I'm sure I'll misnumber something or say something incorrectly or otherwise, but I'm trying to give people the pieces at least. So you're not going to offend me if you put corrections in there. That's totally welcome. Coffee, good. Okay. So that's how you would mint with this implementation, the Giff. So the Giff token too, it's just a ERC20 vanilla deal, meme coin, whatever call it. Okay, I get like this is the point where like, okay, what does this stuff do? So the Giff, this implementation of Permabull tokenomics on PulseChain through the Giff token. So the ticker is GIFF. Let me just put it in here. Deck screener. See if it pulls it up. So maybe this one. If not, I'll search for it. Is that, let's see, liquidity 16. Okay, let's just type in. Make sure we get a good pull here to get PLS. Yeah, 228K. All right. I'll just put it on, click daily, and you'll see like, yeah. Just tell me if you like that chart or not. I'm not sure. I don't do TA, but I've seen worse charts. I'll say that. Not financial advice. Don't buy anything based on what I say. Just doesn't look too bad though. I'll say that as far as just in general. Yeah. Do not buy anything unless you want to. It's totally up to you. And you understand that's why I'm trying to go through all this stuff. So just nothing special token. I think the supply is 1 billion, and we can look it up on, let's see, go real DeFi, click explore, go up here, copy token address, paste it in, boom, pops up Giff, got a little green check mark, had there a second ago, contract verified, I guess there. Holders 303, transfers, yeah, max supply 1 billion. So 1 billion Giff. So just a vanilla token, nothing special, Giff. And then, so it takes the Giff token, 1 billion supply, PLS to mint PGIF. Okay. So once you do it, once you set it in, so you know, it takes, you know, what is it, $2,700 worth, it's 1 million, and then 10 to 1, so 10 million PLS. So yeah, $791 to mint the PGIF token. That will just be, yeah, you'll just have PGIF. You get PGIF back from that. Now, that is, I think is it 90% buy and burn? Is that like another special thing about this? 90% buy and burn. I'm not sure if it's in let's talk about it in here or not. I think the buy and burn is like, I think I heard Giff talking about it's supposed to be like one of the biggest buy and burns there is. Like 90% goes into buying and burning the token. So anyways, buy and burn, minting, this is creation. You're literally creating PGIF. So here's the interesting part, right? You're putting Pulse, which has value. You're putting Giff, which has value. And you're minting a new token called PGIF, PermaGiff. So it's one of those, again, things where it's not inflating. it's actually burning the previous token. So there's a lot less reasons, like if for PGIF to exist, there has to be economic energy going into it. It doesn't just get minted by staking or all these other different mechanisms. So that's why I'm trying to think of, because I've heard the conversations of Giff talking about like why Permabull, and again, we'll get into that once we talk more with them about it. But it's one of those, like, how did he say it? Like, if you participate in this, like I'm gonna mess it up. Something like the Permabull name comes from like the whole thing has all these mechanics to make it like bullish. It makes it like you be a Permabull in this type of system. I'm not explaining it very well, but when you hear him talk about it, it's like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. So hope that part makes sense. So that's how it works on that side. Again, there's Pulsar, which is on the east side. I'm focusing more on the PulseChain side, but and Pulsar has its own different, it's got this LP thing, which it's actually was like a trustlessly putting LP on the PulseChain, permanent LP, I think is what it is. So it's got the east side, Tokenomics side, and it's got the PulseChain side, because it's actually putting liquidity, permanent liquidity, over on PulseChain. So it's like bringing, I think that, again, I want to get in the secret sauce of some of this stuff because I want Giff and Kool-Aid to explain it better. But it was really interesting where we talk about getting different communities on PulseChain and how do we get them to come over? Like, how do we get them to change their dApp to connect to PulseChain instead of Ethereum to save their users fees and all this stuff? And we have the P token copies. Oh, maybe they'll get over there. They'll see there's money here and they'll come over to trade. So TBD, how well that works. A couple tokens been popping off. You got PDI and you got PWP, Wrap Bitcoin, ones that Richard mentioned the other day with a lot of value. What if there's this liquidity pool that just keeps growing over time? And the community that's over, it could be anything. Like if you don't like Tokenomics, whatever, that's totally fine. Like Giff and PGIF have nothing to do with Tokenomics. They're just implementation of the Permabull tokenomic stuff, experimental token to try all this stuff out, proving the concept this stuff works or doesn't work and all that stuff too. But the Pulsar side is there's this kind of split between, it's good for the community up there, the Tokenomics community over there, because it burns Tokenomics and all that. And then it's also good for PulseChain because it's setting up this this liquidity pool over on PulseChain that just keeps growing. Yeah, I guess as Pulsar is minted, it keeps growing and adding economic value, taking that community. Again, we don't have to like again, to me, it doesn't matter. It could be Tokenomics, it could be Uni token. If you don't like Tokenomics, replace Tokenomics with Uni token, or name your least favorite token on Ethereum. Like all that stuff doesn't matter. Like the fact that it's bringing value to PulseChain and it has these type of tokenomics is what's interesting to me. So it is helping, it's clearly got this objective to do this value, to grow value on PulseChain by bringing communities over and liquidity and stuff like that too. So I think it's pretty cool. Okay, so we went over Permabull, Giff, PGIF, Pulsar a little bit just to kind of like how it ties together. Launch, again, this is a creation type of deal where people come in, they put in economic value. And again, you put in economic value. If you want to participate, takes Pulse, takes Giff, mint you a new token. And I guess at that point, like, maybe you're asking, what is the point? Like, or what does this stuff do? Like, what is it supposed to do? I could just tell you, well, it's just a meme token. Like, what is any of this stuff supposed to do? We're lucky it all works at all. Price go up. What do you care about? I guess if price go up, like, why does it matter? All this stuff. I could say it like that. Most people, or a lot of people do, right? There's like, it's crypto, whatever. You want to make money or not? That kind of thing. I think, again, I've been listening to all these conversations, and from what I understand, and I really hope to dig into later, it seems to be experimentation and the ability to try certain things out, build an infrastructure layer where other things can be built on top of it or otherwise tie into, I mean, who knows, maybe with these gift tokens and stuff, maybe holders will get an airdrop or something. Maybe, it's kind of like one of those things, you said when you stack for PulseChain and PulseX and all that, you're on a list, and a lot of people get tokens based on you're on the list for that or other sacrifice projects and stuff on PulseChain. So this could be like an airdrop thing, maybe in the future. I'm just pure speculation. I don't know. I just based on what I've hear and can understand and imagine all this stuff too. It could be these could tie into other systems built later on, whether in some kind of utilized in some way, or the price could like maybe this tokenomic is so amazing. Maybe Permabull turns out to be just this amazing thing that a lot of people seem to think it's worth trying out to see if it is or not. Where the mechanics in the market and people are just incentivized to participate, and the price goes up a lot, and it becomes some valuable token, or not. It could be the other way, where everyone's like, this doesn't work, or this sucks, or whatever, and people go on to the next thing, or that could be the case too. We're all speculating, right? But I think the reason I pay attention to this, and you guys have been following the channel for a while, I don't just come in here and talk about any tokens. I literally go out of my way. I've spent a lot of effort to only really talk and describe and myself, really go through the mechanics of things that I think are very interesting and I like, and I think are good for PulseChain and all that, all that stuff. So yeah, I wouldn't be talking about this unless I thought there was something there and I thought it was interesting enough to spend time on. I've spent a lot of time in the past week or two listening and just re-listening conversations, the information available. Like if you go on YouTube, I posted a couple of clips. There's also, so if you go to my channel, I posted, so I've got a clip from the Q&A here a day or so ago, and then I got the new magic sauce coming to PulseChain from a few days ago, where that was on the Pulsar Vision stream, which is really good. Good conversation. And they talk about Arcosa. They talk about a few different things too, because all of these guys, all the founders, are from they're Hexskins, Pulskins. Some of them are like Hedron, Icosa, really exposed to a lot of very interesting ideas and value propositions and stuff like that. So it's on my channel, and then if you go to Gifford Word Tech, there's some conversations on there. So this channel, maybe they'll post some like official stuff of projects and stuff coming up. So pretty new, right? Pretty new. And again, Giff himself is called the Giff tokens, Giff and PGiff, an experiment trying to prove a concept of what they believe to be really cool and valuable and bullish tokenomics, obviously. So again, you can look at the chart. Who knows? No predictions. But I think buy and burn mechanics and the whole creation instead of inflation just gets dumped. If you give people a reason, like to make it, I like that. I always talk about the Alex Hormozi quote of, make people a deal they'd be stupid to refuse. I guess you could adapt that, like make a tokenomic where people have to sell at a loss, or of course there's thresholds with everything. It's not like there's no system where the thing just goes up with nobody participating, and like there has to be like good economic activity in every system, in every market, or else it just fails because it just won't, it's not sustainable, right? I think, I've known Giff for a while. He's becoming one of my favorite founders. Don't screw this up, Giff. I don't say that about a lot of people either. And I think that what I've understood from this has fascinated me and compelled me to talk about it. And I hope it'll be very good for PulseChain too. It's literally, these tokens are on PulseChain, and the Pulsar is bringing liquidity and community stuff to PulseChain too. So I think that could be some net wins there. So there's the portal there. Again, here's Giff if you want to follow him. I think there's a Telegram. Yeah, there's Telegram too. I forget what it's called. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I've named Telegram top of my head, but I'm sure you could find it. And yeah, a lot of this stuff is just new, super interesting, I think. I could chat in just a minute. I'm just going through my notes. Yeah, I feel like I brought up I talked about the main things I thought were interesting through these. And it really is one of those things. I tried to explain it at a high level as best I could. Hopefully I got all the pieces correct again. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone watching this, like, please politely be like, oh, this is actually, but high level idea. Hopefully you could understand that. And again, this is just something I think is interesting. So I wanted to share it. I hope that it doesn't go away. Hopefully the experiment is successful. And then it works out and it creates a lot of value and all that stuff. But it's just one of those things where I'm like, man, I think there could be something to this. And it's so refreshing to see it. Nothing against sacrifice phases, nothing against people doing other tokenomics or like creating whatever platforms to do this and that. But there's so many, this seems like one of the ones, again, if successful, if it works out, if the proof of concept is proved to be, valuable and the hype. I want to say hype. There's like no hype because nobody hardly knows about it. I think one of the few people streaming and talking about it and otherwise at this point, if it does become like fulfill its potential, then again, I think hopefully it'll create a lot of value for PulseChain and people participating and stuff like that. So that's what we're here for, right? Cool, fun, interesting, healthy games. That's what I'm here for, at least. Make money, have good community, have things that don't fail, don't rug pull, all that stuff. And like I've said 5 times, I hope to have them on to do a technical deep dive in the next week or so to really dig into some of these interesting things. I'm just giving you just like the high level, like outside view of a lot of stuff. But it's been very interesting for me. So I'm very excited to see where it goes from here. CryptoZaddy, isn't the same as Titanx or Hyper or Zen? They all got right now. Good question. So again, a lot of people have this emotional response to Titanx either because they think, oh, it took people away from the Hex and PulseChain community and got them into that. And then they look at the price chart and see it's really down right now. Okay. Again, I have nothing like good or bad to say about Titanx. Like I'm focusing my attention on PulseChain, which PulseX included, PulseChain ecosystem. So I would just say, and again, they could answer the question much better than me, but I would think that those protocols, again, the key here is creation, not inflation. Now, I don't know much about those protocols as far as mechanics and stuff, but I think, correct me if I'm wrong, they're inflationary. So with the creation part, you're creating tokens with economic energy. There's no SAC where people get a lot of stuff. There's no fair launch, which I think is that kind of their thing where people can create miners and mine it over time and stuff like that. So I think it's, I don't say irrelevant, but like it's not the same. It's not the same thing. And I think the case with Pulsar that was made was even if Titanx, because it takes like the value Pulsar I think it's based on ETH and Titanx. So if you're bullish on ETH, even if you don't care about Titanx or not bullish on, or whatever your opinion is, if you're bullish on ETH, which I think all of the value comes from, I'm not sure how it's weighted, but I think a lot of it comes from it, I believe, then it doesn't matter. So it's almost like, in that case, the other token, whatever it is, could be like the lottery ticket. Like it doesn't really matter as long as ETH, as long as ETH does what we all hope it does, right? So that's with Pulsar. Now with the Giff and PGiff, they have nothing to do. They're just PulseChain Permabull tokenomics tokens. They have nothing to do with the ETH side or any projects over there. The only relation between the two is they both deploy the Permabull tokenomics stuff. So yeah, hopefully that answered your question. Good question. So is Gifford a real brand? Was the value buying? Just asking. Kind of covered this where, I mean, Giff, again, you could say everyone in the era of people creating tokens based on their brand and stuff like that. I guess you could just be like, to me, this is kind of, he's using this from what I understand, to experiment with different tokenomics, such as Permabull tokenomics. And these tokens could be used for other stuff in the future, all this stuff too. Could be airdrops, could be utilized in some way with other protocols, or there could be upgrades, new tokens that are, oh, here's the new thing I want to try out for bullish tokenomics or something. Could be something like that. So I think the interesting thing versus everyone else's PRC20, where they have their own meme coin, and maybe there's like liquidity plays and there's all that stuff going on too. This is literally a billion. Let's go back to PulseChain. A billion supply, just vanilla PRC20 token. Doesn't do anything. You can trade it, buy it, sell it, all that you can combine with the native token of PulseChain PLS to create a new token that is, backed, I guess you could say, by value. I say it loosely because I think there's a little mechanics are a little interesting there. Backed in a way so it's created with value. You're not just minting it because you waited a long time. You're not just, it's very different. That's what I'm saying. It's so interesting about this. It's very different than staking, where the protocol mint you new tokens because of you did something. Right? You staked for a long time, or you staked more, or otherwise. So, and there's other protocols where, what is it? You put in one token, and you get another token out, or all that stuff. This is different. You're combining two tokens to create a third token, and one of the tokens you put in is bought and burned with the other token you paired it with. To my understanding, that's how this works. So, to me, that is, what is value buying? I don't know. It's like, hope the price goes up. Hope that, the thing works, the idea works. Hope the market believes in it. Hope that, I think it's like applicable to every other token, except this one has more interesting game mechanics than, a more interesting protocol that's happening, and more sustainable, you could say, and a lot of other benefits than other things that you may have experienced out there. So that's what I would say for that. Again, anyone from the Giff community, I guess, or Giff, if you're in the chat, feel free to correct if I'm not saying anything quite correct, but I believe that's the basic understanding I'm getting from this. So fair enough. It's worth looking into. Thanks, Small Punt. Yeah, that's everyone decide for themselves. For me, I've decided this is interesting. So that's why I wanted to share it, because I'm like, man, this Permabull tokenomics is pretty cool. It's like, wow. I'll put the link in the chat again in case people don't want to scroll up there, but again, characterized by its buy and burn mechanism, forms the backbone of a sustainable and deflationary economic model. This unique approach is designed to perpetually bolster Pulsar's token value. So you could apply this. This is just Pulsar white paper. You could apply this to, I think, you could basically apply this to Giff and stuff later. A little bit of difference, but generally the protocol is like the same idea, or maybe they're exactly the same. I'm not sure. Aligning with a long-term bullish allocated ecosystem. So this is accumulation ETH fees. Permabull tokenomics begins with a collection of transaction fees ETH. So this is just replace. I feel like you could just create a paragraph for Giff and PGiff where you're like, replace Ethereum with Pulse and replace Pulsar with PGiff. These fees are earmarked for the buy and burn contract. Market purchase, burning Pulsar tokens. Purchase tokens are subsequently burned by calling the burnable function embedded in the contract will destroy the tokens, thereby reducing circulating supply of whatever token is being used for, and enhancing its scarcity. So it's like another question you may ask too is, well, so if I have Giff and then I mint PGiff with PLS, which token is going to do better? Which one's better? What's the better token? And that's the question too, of like, okay, well, one is getting burned and the other is minted with value. And you need the first token to get the second token unless you buy it off market. And there's all kinds of like maybe ARB stuff going on there too. So I don't think it's clear. I don't think it's clear which one. Happy to hear people talk about it though. Of like, you could make it, it's like people are making cases, which one's better, PulseChain or PulseX? In the early days, and it's like, I'm not comparing these tokens to those, by the way. I'm just saying in general, like there's an analogy here of like, PulseChain is tokenomics. inflationary but native coin, and it's paired with everything and all this stuff. And PulseX deflationary, won't be any more buy and burn, all that too. So you're like, okay, I always said, like, do you want 2 scoops ice cream, 3 scoops ice cream, right? Here, yeah, I don't know. Like, what do you guys think? Do you think the one being burned that's needed to mint the other one will be more valuable, bought and burned? Or do you think the one that is being minted with economic value, which it's minted with Pulse and Giff? So yeah, I need to get into the mechanics of like how the ceiling, I feel like I'm even coming, I have so many questions for these guys that I want like really good answers to. It's like the ceiling, how does this, I want to know like how the ceiling ratchets up. Like, okay, if the Pulse price goes up, is that, how does that affect things exactly? Like, where does it, there's like the ceiling price somewhere in there too. And like, how does that change? How does that ratchet up or ratchet down? Very curious for that too. So give me just a second. All right. I got halfway through this cup of coffee. Hopefully this is making sense. I feel like I've explained it 2 or 3 times. And if I'm being accurate here, hopefully that makes sense. Again, here's the price chart. I'll just drop this in chat too. This is for Giff. And I'll pull up PermaGiff. You can look at that as well. So yeah, not a lot of liquidity for PermaGiff, which is interesting. So you got 81K market cap. Let's put on the 15-minute. Yeah. All of these look like, what are we talking about? Like is it the ARB opportunities? Like all these look like price went up. Okay, somebody bought some or otherwise, and it got sold down. Somebody bought some, got sold down, bought some, got sold down. Maybe here, and then yeah, different stuff like even here bought some. Okay, that's too high. Kind of market dynamics here too, which I'm not going to go into and try to explain, but yeah, here bought some. Okay, maybe not. Okay, maybe it's going up. So that one, 81K, 2.6 mil market cap for Giff, 226K liquidity. Let's look at the holders. Yeah, so 300 holders. This was, I feel like I looked a week or so ago, and was this over 100? I feel like the holders have grown. And then PGIF, let's see. Let's look at PGIF. Let's explore again. So PGIF 113. Yeah, so since I think the DApp, and before the DApp was live, I think it was the contracts were still live. This DApp wasn't finished, so I believe they were talking about you could mint it. You could just call different functions on the contract and mint them even before the DApp was. I think the DApp's been alive for a week or 2. So that portion, but how many holders? So 300 and then 113 for this one. And there's 23 million PGIF have been minted. So that means 23. So if you look at GIF, I think there's a burn address. Yeah, you can see the dead address here. Oh, it says 27 million have been sent to this, have been burned. 27 million, so it's 23 million supply. The 27, so where did the other 4 million, is that part of the buy and burn? How do we get 27 million burned? Maybe that's part of the buy and burn. There's like 4 million difference for what's yeah, maybe that's part of the buying bird. It's how it first thing comes to mind. I don't know. Help me out, chat, if you know. But yeah, pretty cool there. Any questions? If you guys have any questions, I'll wrap up here in a few minutes, but I feel like I covered the Permabull side. Hopefully got the buy and burn correct and all that. Let's see. Transparency token. Each buy and burn transaction is transparently recorded on the blockchain, allowing the community to monitor ongoing fluctuations with Pulsar supply. Again, we could replace Giff on that, or PGIF on that one. I guess that would be. I guess both you could monitor the supply because you could see. Yeah, that'd be interesting. We actually see on chain it getting burned too. I'm sure you probably can somewhere. And I think that's the biggest part of that. Yeah. I think it's super interesting. Pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. Yeah. Any other questions? I'll wrap up here in just a minute. Next hodl, something new. We'll have to do your answer. Yes. If you want to figure it out, again, I posted the link to the Pulsar white paper, which there's no GIF, PGIF white paper, but the Permabull tokenomics section should be mostly applicable here. So you check it out. Again, I hope to have this like mega deep dive. Hopefully go for like hour, 90 minutes with with Giff and Kool-Aid. And just really, because I got a ton of questions that I want some like in-depth answers onto. I hope to achieve that. And then hopefully after that, I'll be like, wow, this was so many cool things. That kind of deal. Hopefully so. What's up, TS Pedro? Welcome, Armando. Appreciate that, man. See ya. Thank you. Of course. Appreciate you all. Yeah, I think it's all I got for you. Yeah, check it out if you're interested. I think, like I said, I think it's pretty interesting. I think it's pretty new, innovative. Excited to see, what comes from it and all that stuff too. And I'll try to, if I'm able to get the founders on, do another deep dive, get into a little bit more. And this could just be the beginning. This is a new, from what I can tell, a new tokenomics, Permabull tokenomics that can be implemented at different protocols, again, at different chains and all that stuff too. And founders seem to be interested in making some interesting products and innovating and doing stuff the right way. We all hope it's they're able to pull these things off and do it in as trustless way as possible. And yeah, excited to see what comes from it. So anyways, good stuff for PulseChain. I certainly hope so. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff to be excited about. All right, that's all I got for you today. Scivive and 5555. We are out.